All right, guys. Today we're honored to be in the presence of Mr. Nikita K. Carpenter, who has shot with the Atomos Shogun, and we're here to get his view on the product and also what you shoot on. So, how you doing, Mr. Carpenter?
I'm doing very good.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Sure.
I'm happy to be part of the review. Making films out here, like in New York and Brooklyn, like especially as we are right now, amateur filmmakers, but still going on aspiring to do bigger and better things. It's great to know and have a good knowledge base of all the different tools that we have at our disposal.
True.
So it's really awesome and very thankful that we can kind of have Atomos come out and help us and provide a unit that we can use to make the ideas that we have reality. So it's great.
Great. Glad. So for the past couple of weeks, you've been using the Atomos Shogun. I want you to give us your view on what are the things that you enjoy about it. What are the things that you look at when putting together like a workflow or from the beginning, from the start to end?
Right. I come from a cinematography background, so for me, having a monitor that can also record and provide features that allow me to dial things in, but very nice user interface and having things that you want to have like a waveform, histogram, all the vector scopes, all that, and it's in there, and that's great because for me, I know that if I'm, for instance, we're having this little guy right here, I go in and fix the vector scope, or the waveform. I know I can dial it in and say, okay, that's where my levels are. And for me, that's what I grew up. I was taught by professionals, these are the tools you use to kind of find your image, on the technical side. And so once they become second nature, the aesthetics come through it. And that's what I really enjoy about this, is because all the things that I need to do to marry those two things together are on this unit. So I've had a blast. It's great. And also another thing is the recording and the amount of time that you can choose between, if you know that you're going to go to Avid, and you can pick your DNX HD, or if you're going to go into Final Cut or Premiere and you want to have, MOV files, ProRes, and the different flavors that we're all used to. It's great.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so as you know, there are a bunch of features on the Shogun here, specifically going from lookup table, which you can actually import.
Right.
You weren't using the LUT, but you're using your Gamma 3.
Absolutely.
On your camera.
Right, and so a lot of times I'll run, with the advent of the FSM coming up, they have S-Log3, and I use S-Log3 a lot, S-Log2, the different things that they allow me to give me a larger curve so I can go down and crunch it later. And usually what I do is I'll take it in, and this industry standard, everyone knows Rec 709. It's just, what we use to go out and start and broadcast. And so that will usually be the LUT I use if I'm, unless I know that what I'm going to do with this gamma curve is, I've gone and saw it and tested and understood, okay, that's where I'm placing my values. I usually just use Rec 709, and it's great because I know, okay, if I see this image, it'll be comparable with all the other images I see in the TV screens. And everyone knows, NTSC, never the same color twice, it's kind of things going on. But in the ballpark of things, that's usually what I do. And that's great. It's a great feature because the Shogun has 10 different LUTs. And then if I were ever, under the chagrin of being like, I'm going to send this to 10 different things, the options are there. But it's great because that's what I look for in a new unit, especially if you're going to invest in this, the price point. That options are there. And if you want to explore, if you're a filmmaker that's busy enough and doing things where you need those options, they're there. So I think the one thing that is the one thing that I would suggest, and one thing that issues I'm running into is, all the features are there, but then the actual form factor itself, very concerned about, whether the unit can get bumped, hurt, if it's shot, if it's going to be able to take that hit and come back. And I know you and I are discussing options to protect it.
Yes.
And one thing that I did not know before and that I know now that Atomos provides is a caging system to make sure that, because it's very rugged, it's made of great alloy, but you still want to, I still would want the aesthetic beauty of it, no scratches, anything. And a cage is the one thing I would suggest, go out to the field. In the studio, it's fine just this.
Right.
But when we're out there in the field, we're shooting and the elements are there, it's great to have it protected.
True, true. Well, Atomos does actually offer a protective solution specifically. It's part of their new release they call their Action Pact, which actually includes a slim fit cage, which fits perfectly well on this unit. I know a couple other companies have come out with such things, and they can be kind of a bit bulky or whatever. And then when you're trying to add your sun hood onto this in the field, it's kind of like Legos. You kind of have to figure out how you want to go ahead and put this there, or how you want to have like a sun hood and everything else. But with the new Action Pack coming out in July, Atomos does actually offer a cage, as well as a anti-reflective coating that actually you can easily stick onto the top of the screen, which actually gives it more of a matte look of their previous versions from their Shogun, from their Samurai blades and from their Ninja blades. And also they provide a case, which definitely sets a precedent of either you're carrying around this big giant yellow brick here. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. We can definitely travel with this, but something slim enough that we can put in our gear bag and whatever and get going definitely works out. As well as also another thing that Atomos has that actually works out very well for their exterior cage. Their exterior cage actually attaches onto the mat box, which works out very well. So if you want and take your Shogun out into the field with the exterior cage attached to it, you can actually put their sunshade on it, and it works out very, very well.
That's great.
Which, I mean, I'm very happy to actually have been using this and actually know that the next how can we call it, evolution is coming out to add to this unit here, which works out very, very well. Couple of things, like give us a couple of pluses on what you liked about the unit.
Another wonderful feature coming from Atomos, and this is standard, but theirs is very high tech and very intuitive, is their monitor assisting. I usually just use the first one, but for me, I work for Atomos, so a lot of times if I don't have an assistant there to kind of check and like, hey, that's a little soft. It's great to be able to know, like, all right, cool, I can just go ahead and have my feature set up so that as I'm shooting, I have a constant reminder, okay, this is what's in focus, what's not. And as a general rule, like everybody knows, like you kind of have the most contrasting color against what you're shooting, so you know what your peaking is. And they have an array of colors which are great, because a lot of times, sometimes you're gonna get red, blue, yellow, and there are tons of other colors out there. So it's great that they kind of offer a larger selection.
So the other implementations that Atomos actually has is their letterboxing. Have you used that for your most recent video?
Actually, we did. I'm just gonna pick the unit up and show you guys. So for me, as everyone's frame is really important, and to have the availability of like 1.85 or 235, which we use on the project, it's great to know, especially when you've got one sensor coming out, but you don't necessarily know where the sensor is going to be reacting with other cameras, because all these sensors are different. So I'm just going to pull up a little footage from the past weekend. This is Stella in a scene that we have for the Bridgerford song. And it's kind of very, psychedelic, very trippy, very fogged image. And for me, I needed to know exactly where she was. So, inside the camera is a great feature. It allows you to just, as soon as, you touch it, all the other settings go away and the letterboxing comes up, which I'm doing here now. And it's perfect. All weekend, this is what I relied on to know where the frame lines of my image were, and they happened. And you may or may not be able to see, but you can also do pillar boxing on the side.
Yes.
And these are just options that, to me, are very industry standard. And the fact that Atomos has them in there so readily available with a great user interface, it works out great. I really enjoyed it.
Wonderful, wonderful. So that's it, guys. We hope you had a great review on the Atomos Shogun, as well as we'd like to thank Mr. Carpenter coming out and actually giving his view on using this equipment. So stay tuned. Thank you, Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you for having me.
Everything else. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for the next one, where we're going to be reviewing the 5G12.